Okay, I think we're live. Welcome to Quick Start Vlogging, and thank you all for joining us today. I'm Lai. I'm a WordPress.com happiness engineer, and I'm joining you from Portugal. I just have a few notes before we start. We're recording this webinar, so after the webinar, you'll receive an email with a link. It includes the recording link, a survey, and also an exclusive discount code for all of you. A second note, please use the Q&A feature in Zoom. Chat is disabled at the moment. We'll be answering as many questions as possible. However, there's a chance we might not get to your questions, so feel free to contact us directly at wordpress.com/contact. Also, we have webinars happening daily at the moment, so you can check other topics and join us other days. You can check them in wordpress.com/webinars. I'm proud to present my colleague, Andrew. He'll be the one presenting today's topic.
So we've got my page here. And so now over in this tab, I'm just in the dashboard where we get to the controls to work with the site. So over here under the Site tab, I'm on my listing of posts, and these are the 3 that I have published so far. And I've got a draft started for us to start looking at. And so one thing I really love about our editor is it makes it very easy for me to come in and write all of the post that I want to have all at once and just get the writing part done. And then I can come back in and start making it pretty for the web, adding images, adding headings, all of that sort of thing. So I've got my title here. And so this post is about live entertainment in New York City. And so by kind of trying to make it specific, live entertainment as a subject, the place here, that's hopefully going to help boost the search engine results that the post will get. But we do have some further tools to help assist with that. So over here in my controls for the document, I'm going to come over to my categories. And since this is kind of a travel blog, I've got my one category as travel. And then I start adding tags to my posts to make things more specific. So in this case, I can create a New York City tag. And to set that in there, I just had to do a comma at the end of New York City. But let's also do live entertainment, comma. I'm going to talk about dance, or at least have some dance images. And we'll also have some theater as well. And so using these categories and tags helps to tell the search engines such as Google what my content is about. So that helps them better categorize this particular post and rank higher in related searches. And so then as we go down, I'm going to add a featured image to the post. So I'm just clicking on my tab here and the set featured image. Everything I'm using on the site is just coming from the free photo library that's included with WordPress. You can get to that right here, clicking this, and then we get to the free photo library, and I can search for anything I want to search for. So there's some puppies. You can't go wrong with puppies. However, in this case, I actually already have the featured image I want to use. So let's go with this cool New York City skyline. So I'm just selecting that and clicking on Insert. And then the last thing I'll do over in this section of the tools is I'll add an excerpt for the page. The featured image often comes through when you say share the URL for a post to Facebook or other social media platforms. And likewise, we can control what goes through with that by setting an excerpt here. Most platforms are pretty intelligent, and they'll bring in maybe the first 50 to 60 words of a given post if no excerpt is set. However, by setting this manually on my side, I can control exactly what goes out. And so I'm just going to copy this text. And now come over to my excerpt and I'll paste that in. And so now we know what will be going there. And so kind of now back looking into my content here, this could be the most interesting 6 paragraphs in the world, but we need to start giving it visual appeal. And so to do that, I'm just going to start adding some blocks. So right up here at the top, I'm going to add a heading. And so you can see it shows up right there, but I can also search for a block up here. And so heading comes up. Oops, it's popped in below where I wanted it. So I'm going to move it up there. And let's just say that this bit is my introduction. And additionally, using headings kind of works in conjunction with the categories and tags that we had to kind of help search engines that crawl the site, again, know what the content is about. So this introduction isn't adding a lot for the search engine optimization, but as we move on, I'll be using some that start to get that. So down here, let's say I want this next bit to be about music. And so I can click this plus icon to add a heading block again, or in this case, I can also type slash and get a listing of some of the most recent blocks I've used, or I can also start typing the block title in to be more specific. And so here we go. I'm going to say music. And then coming down the page, let's do dance, because I've got a cool dance picture to share. And theater. And so these kind of sections start kind of breaking up the page. It makes it easier on readers' eyes, but we definitely want to start getting some images added in here. So let's right under introduction here, I'll go down and I'm going to add a block. And I'm just going to add an image block, which is here under the common blocks. And so I can upload an image from my computer. In this case, I'm going to use one I've already got in my WordPress media library. And so let's make this one this kind of catchy downtown square of New York. And so once I get this set, I can hit my settings here to set the alignment. I'm just going to make this a center aligned so it will take up the whole space in that row of the page. And so now I'm going to start adding some content images to these different sections, but I'm going to mix it up a bit. So here under music, I'm going to come and add a new block. And just to kind of change my page layout, I'm going to come in here and add a media and text block. So I'm going to hit my icon here. And in the search, I can just do media and text. And so now this gives me a way to put an image side by side with some text content. So I will use an image from my media library. And now let's say I want the content of this paragraph to be going beside that. I can just do a quick copy. In my case, on my Mac, I'm using Command C there. And now I'm just coming in with a Command V to paste that in. Now, you'll note that my text size over here has come in rather large. So I am going to start taking that back down to normal. Let's default do. Let's go with normal. That's given it a 16 point and should look pretty good. And so now, as I'm kind of working on the draft, I can come up here and save it just to make sure it's getting backed up. And moving down, let's get some more images going. So down here under dance, I'm going to do the same trick. And having used it recently, median text is just showing up right here under my most used. Again, I can search for it right there. And last time I did the media on the left, and I think this time it'd be more interesting to have the media on the right. So I'm just going to use my control right there to switch the two. And so again, I'm going back to my media library to pull the image in. And so I've got that, and I'm just going to copy in my text. Ooh, I should also remove the text that I'm copy and pasting. And there we go. So you can kind of see how the page starts quickly coming together. I've forgotten to go back and remove the text blocks that I've copy and pasted. And so lastly here under theater, I'm just going to come in and we'll just do this one as a normal image block just to kind of give the page some interesting layout and design. And so let's say this is my image for that. And so now I'm going to go ahead and save my draft. And let's publish the post. Now here I get some questions. Am I ready to publish? Do I need to double check? Do I want to make this public or private to where only site admins or editors on the site could see it? I could password protect it to share a password with only my selected friends or family that I want to see it. In this case, I'll keep it public, and I'm going to publish it immediately. But this tool makes it really easy to schedule posts to go out in advance. So one thing I'll often suggest to people is when you're just starting the site, go ahead and maybe publish your first 2 or 3 posts, and then maybe get as many as 2 to 4 posts ahead and schedule those to go out once a week or twice a week. So just so that you're a little bit ahead on content. And so it's easy to kind of keep creating the new stuff to feed the flow, to keep your readers engaged and have constant contact coming out. But again, in this case, I'm just going to publish immediately. And so I'll hit my publish button there to confirm it. And so now I'm going back here to my page and I'm going to reload. And so now we can see my post. Now, one thing you'll notice is with all of these posts, I've clipped it short so it's not taking up too much real estate on the home page. And I've not done that on this post. So I'm going to come back to my edit post here. And I'm going to add a more block. So I'm just going to search for it. And now when I update it and we come back to my home page, we can see we just get the continue reading and we keep going on down through the page. So I was going to previously get into some stuff with the customizer, but due to the technical troubles on my side, I think it might be best if we just go to some Q&A right now.
Okay, Thank you so much, Andrew.
Absolutely.
So we have amazing questions here today. One of the themes in general, because we have many questions around this, is how to attract an audience, how to build an audience, how to get people to visit your blog in this case.
Sure.
Do you have any tips?
For sure. So some of the answer to that is just included in stuff I've already talked about. Use your categories, use your tags. They're going to help your search engine results. But additionally, we want to start sharing our posts with our friends and family. So in this case, I can visit my post here, and now I can copy this URL and I can paste that to Facebook, and I can say, hey, come check this out. Now, additionally, we do have some tools built in to kind of make this easier. So if I leave my post editor here, and I come over to tools on my left here, and I click on marketing, we get some options here. But in this case, I'm going to go to connections. And so you'll see that I can connect to different social media platforms here. And what that does once I go through it is every time I publish a post, I'll get a message that says share to Facebook, share to Twitter, share to LinkedIn, share to Tumblr. So with the click of a button, I'm getting my content out there on all those different media platforms. Other best practices just include keeping your content consistently updated. So I think a minimum of 1 post a week is a really good goal to shoot for. And if you have the time and the energy, if you can do 2 or even 3, that's going to help more.
Definitely. Just want to build on top of that. Our reader feature is very good to find friends or to find people that blog about things you like. I personally find it very useful.
For sure. And then as you begin to follow people, they may in turn begin following you, and maybe you might recommend one of their posts and they might share one of yours. And so you can kind of get some, mutual growing and community building there.
Definitely. So we do have questions around images and featured images specifically. So one of them, so I'm gonna join a couple of questions. One of them is images copyrights, and if it's okay to use images directly from Google, or if there's a way to get images that aren't protected. And the other, just to wrap everything up, is maybe touch a bit again on how to set a post featured image and what's the usefulness of having a featured image in a blog post.
Sure. So when it comes to usefulness, you may recall that I set this skyline to be my featured image. And so with this Dara theme that I'm using, it's kind of automatically giving it this cool effect at the top of my post. And then when I go to my home page, again, it's kind of coming in at the top of the post and showing that image, which is just making the homepage more visually interesting to have all of these featured images. Now to set those, we're just going over to our posts. The tool will be the same thing if you're working on a page as well. And so I can click on my live entertainment in New York City post here to get in here to edit it. And so now on the left, I've got my featured image drop down right here. And so we can see what my current featured image is, and I also have an option to replace it. So let's replace this. And when it comes to stock images and copyright, I think the best tool at a user's disposal is our free photo library, which again we get to with this little drop down here. And then we've got this free photo library feature. And so this is through an agreement WordPress has with Pexels. And we have about 60,000 images that we have the copyright to use. So I can search for anything I want to and kind of see what starts coming up. Now, of course, just a personal preference and a recommendation is to use your personal images on your website. I think it makes it more authentic and it makes it more interesting. But sometimes we all need to use a stock image. I don't have a whole lot of images of barn owls or eagles on my personal phone. So coming to the Pexels and doing a search is a great way to get excellent content that you know you won't have any copyright trouble for using.
Okay, and since you're there, can you just like a very quick wrap up of the difference between categories and tags?
Yes. So category is kind of your big picture, whereas tags get a little more specific. So in this case, I'm talking about a theoretical trip to New York City. And so my category here is travel. But then my tags, I'm doing New York City, I'm doing theater, live entertainment, and dance. And those all relate to the specific content about this particular post and what I'm talking about here.
Okay, and from an SEO point of view, is there any tips we should follow? And I'm very sorry if you already touched them in the presentation. I might have missed your explanation.
Oh, certainly. So for the SEO, typically what we understand from the Google search engine is to use at a minimum one category and one tag per post. And past that, going up as high as maybe 5, I believe can be helpful. After 5, it starts to look a little bit suspicious. And so you might take a possible hit, especially if you're using a category or a tag that doesn't really relate to the content that you're talking about. That can get you into search engine trouble and actually lead to you being ranked lower than you would want to be. So you want to make sure that the categories and tags you're using are accurate and relevant. And I would say that using 3 to 5 of each is probably a best practice if you can find 3 to 5 that relate to your topic.
Thank you. And we do have a question also about SEO, but the excerpt. Does it help setting up an excerpt? I'm sorry, I'm having trouble reading this word.
Certainly. So my understanding is that giving an excerpt does just kind of help the site crawlers kind of quickly know what the site is about and categorize it. And so kind of what we have with WordPress is we have multiple tools that are all designed to be doing the same thing and reinforcing, like using the categories and tags is telling the search engines what your content is about. Using these headings is further telling a site crawler what your content is about. And again, adding a excerpt should also, again, help show what the category is about. And in a perfect world, our featured image and excerpt might even come up on the Google search. So that can all definitely kind of tie in and be helpful.
Perfect. We do have a couple more, and I think we can just go a bit over the time because, well, we kind of started a bit later. So can you or could you touch a bit on contact pages and forums, just
Sure.
so visitors can get in touch with the creators?
Sure. So for that sort of thing, I'm not going to do it as a post. I'm going to do it as a page. So over here under site, I'm coming into pages. And I've got a contact page there already, but I would just like to kind of start from scratch. So I'm going to add a new page. And I'm going to start with a blank slate. You'll note that there's some kind of built-in contact pages that can pull all of your blocks in and that sort of thing for you. And so those are great. You can just go in to customize them. But so starting from a blank slate, I'm going to give this a title of Get in Touch with Me. And so then maybe here I might just add a paragraph of some text, like why you might contact me or what you might have to tell me or that sort of thing. But then the meat that we'll really get into is we will search for a block and go for the form block, and it is here under Grow. And so immediately we see some controls that come up for where this email is going to go to and what the subject line of the email you'll receive will be. So I'm going to say message from site, and I'm just going to do an example email address here. And so then when I add the form, it kind of comes in immediately with required options for the person filling out the form to share their name and their email address for you. It also comes in asking for the person's website, which sometimes maybe that isn't relevant. So if you want to take that out, we can just click in here, hit our 3 dots, and remove the block. And so now that's a little neater. And then we just have a space for the person to give us a message and then a submit button for them to send us. And so I can click in here and change this to be whatever I want it to be, submit, send, what have you. And of course, over here, I have further styling. I can change the background color of the button. I can change the text color and all of that. And so then let's just publish this. And let's just take a look at what this super quick and basic is coming through as. We've got our title here, the gibberish text that I put in as an example, and then just a spot for someone to fill out their name, email, and a message to send. And so that will come through to the email that you've set up and that step. In this case, I just used the example at gmail.com. And additionally, you can also get to that message by going to Site over here and then Feedback. In addition to your email, you'll also see any messages you've been sent here, including spam, which might not make it through to your email, in case maybe you want to check something out that perhaps isn't spam and got flagged incorrectly.
Okay, I think, well, we have a huge list of amazing questions, but I don't think we're gonna be able to answer them all. As I said, I think we're gonna wrap up unless there's something else you want to add, Andrew.
No, I think the main thing with blogging is to start, get words on the page, get images on the page. We can customize it from there. We can help you. But the main thing is to get the words out there, get the images out there, and just get started.
Definitely. Oh, we did get a question. I don't know if you said, can you tell us which theme you're using on your site?
Yes. This is the Dara theme. It's, I believe, one of our older ones, but I think it's great, especially for a blog. But it's just got a nice, simple, clean layout, and I like it.
Yeah, it definitely does. Okay, so I think, well, not apologies, but we won't be able to answer all of your questions. We will send you an email with the recording. Feel free to contact us directly if you have questions and you'd like our help with them. You can get in touch in wordpress.com/contacts. And I think we're done for today. Thank you so much, Andrew, for this. Thank you, everyone that joined. You're amazing. Please check the webinars we're going to have next week and, well, in the rest of this week also. We have amazing stuff coming up, and have a good morning, afternoon, or evening.